good time. Hey, Namaste, how you feeling today? Woo. I'm on the piano today, so wish me luck. All right, 1, 2. You guys know this one? Namaste way? All right, let's stand up and let's have a sing-along. What do you say? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Here at Namaste, we feel some kind of way, something about when we say we love, we really love, we see you, we care. Please be yourself by your head. That's exactly what keeps me coming back. Namaste, we feel some kind of way, something about when we say we love, we really love, we see you, we care. Please be yourself while you're here. That's exactly what keeps me coming back. Woo. One more time. Here at Namaste, we feel some kind of way, something about we say we love, we really love. 2, 1, 2. Oh, we see you, we care. Please be yourself while you're here. That's exactly what. That's exactly what. That's exactly what keeps me coming back. Woo!
You gotta
Thank you,
love
Namaste.
that.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Gotta love that. Kong's on piano today. Let's all watch closely. Yeah. How exciting to be here today. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm so excited I can't even pronounce words. It's just the beginning, really. Good afternoon, everyone. Glad you can join us online or here in our amazing space. We're really thrilled that you could be here today. If you're new, we're so glad you're here with us. We promise not to embarrass you too much, if at all. And for the rest of you that have come here, welcome back. It's great to have you. Namaste is a radically welcoming community. We believe that all paths lead to an awakening. We're here collectively revealing that love is the nature of who we already are. So we start every service with who we are. Look, Matt is just on it today. I just love that. So with that, I know I have some board of directors over here, so I'm gonna ask them just to step a little bit closer so they can say this with you. I know I'm totally putting them on the spot. I love that. It's time. It's time. So if you will just say this with me. I honor the place in you in which the entire universe dwells. I honor the place in you which is love, truth, light, and peace. And when you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, we recognize that we are one. Namaste. So these are two of your board of trustees. They love it when they get put on the spot. I mean it. Susan loves it. And I know that later something's going to happen to me just because. Before we get into the business of prayer, because Jackie's going to come up here and join me, actually tomorrow, our Diversity and Creativity Committee is going to be meeting, and we're combining efforts to vision into what's next. Not just who we are as a community, but has anybody noticed there's just a lot going on in the world? You know, I spent the day feeling half angry, some frustration, and just what is mine to do. I spent yesterday on the phone talking with other ministers who are feeling the same way, all with the intention of what can we do? Because prayer, it's just not enough. Prayer was never meant to be all that we do, never. So tomorrow night we're going to have, for those of you that are interested in joining us, the newsletter goes out around noon tomorrow. It's on our website. You'll get the Zoom link. Just join us. We'll be visioning not only what's next for Namaste, but we're also going to talk about the things that we want to be engaged in. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later in my talk. Join us on Zoom at 6 p.m. tomorrow night. And like I said, the link is on the website and it will be in the newsletter. With that, I'm going to invite Jackie to come up. And it's our first Sunday, which is our prayer Sunday. So Jackie, would you help us with that?
Good afternoon, my beloved community. I am Jackie, spelled with an I-E.
Before she starts, you two, come over here. So, you guys, I don't even get to announce it. These two just passed their practitioner exam. Debbie Ann and Jackie. Now, I want you to understand something. Most people would be so thrilled that they passed, right? Not these two. They were ticked off that they didn't get the score they wanted. That's the kind of new practitioners we're welcoming into this prac corps. I love that. Thank you. So exciting.
Thanks. Yes, it was exciting. Talking about the power of prayer. Indeed, indeed. If I may, before I get into our ministry, I speak for Debbie Ann and I because we've spoken of this. We stand in this. We appreciate so much the prayers that went out for us, those who were standing in that gap when we just didn't feel like we had it. And that is the power of prayer. That's what prayer means. It's that energy that pushes you through. You know what it is? That spirit of that nudge that's pushing you in the right direction. That's what my mother used to say is the power of Mama's prayer. When your kids are out there and you're praying for them and you feel that nudge, and we truly appreciate all the prayers that went forth, those who stood in vigil while we took the test, and our practitioner corps who just stood standing in that knowingness. So we are feeling excited about becoming a part of that, standing in the knowingness for those who just are confused at times, but to know that the divine is always working. And now, getting into the prayer ministry, we are bringing great focus to the power of prayer to Namaste. You'll know in the back when you come in, the ushers will have, or greeters will have cards for you to fill out, and they'll be provided for you during the service, before service, and they'll be held by our prayer corps and our practitioners. And during the week, today, always. In a little while, we will collect the ones to include in the ministered prayer. They will be brought up to the front, and if you want your prayer read out during the service, it will be included in the service. Thank you so, so very much. I appreciate you. Appreciate you, Reverend Bobby, Jeff, all the practitioners. Appreciate it.
I'll just remind that we held them in prayer. There was a vigil that was happening, but someone took the test. And that's the power of prayer. You take that step, and boy, prayer just holds you all the way, doesn't it? I just love that. And these two, they'll be paneling on June 25th, and there'll be a special service on June 26th for both our new practitioners and Chuck Spencer. It will be his last Sunday to serve as a practitioner at Namaste. So we'll be honoring Chuck as well. He's going to go do fun, crazy stuff. That's what he's told me. In fact, it's so crazy, I'm not even going to talk about it. With that, I'm going to turn over to Kong, and let's get our service started.
Take all I have in these hands and multiply. Love all that I am and find my heart on the altar again. Set me on fire. Set me on fire. Take all I have in these hands and multiply. Love all that I am and find my heart on the altar again. Set me on fire. Set me on fire. Here I am, love, arms wide open. My life gracefully broken. My heart stands in awe of your name. Your mighty love stands strong to the end. Love will fulfill this purpose in me. Love won't forsake me. Love will be with me. Here I am, love, arms wide open. Pouring out my life, gracefully broken. Love, arms wide open. Pouring out my life, gracefully broken. All to love now. All to love now. All to love now. All to love now. Here I am, love, arms wide open. Pouring out my life, gracefully broken. Here I am, love, arms wide open. Pouring out my life, gracefully broken. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Kong. Thank you, Des. Yes. Good afternoon, Namaste. I am Reverend Veronica, and I am inviting Chuck up to bring up the light into our service. And I'm getting sentimental here because this will be Chuck's last time bringing the candle up during service. So thank you, Chuck, for holding the light for Namaste for many, many years. And this lighting of the candle symbolizes the light that resides within each and every one of us. Yes. Our practitioner emeritus. Thank you. Yes, yes, he has held the light in many, many ways for us. Thank you, Chuck. And I'd like to invite you all to join us in our affirmation this morning or this afternoon. We were just talking about how it's so hard to, I'm still trained into saying good this morning and good morning here at church. But our affirmation is, as we say it together, I start here in this moment. I let go of fear. I rest in this moment and know it begins with me. In this moment, I am peace. This peace that I am, I share that peace with everything and everyone around me. Yes, indeed. As we go within and know the presence that resides within us and all around us, knowing that peace that resides within us and all around us, as I declare right here and right now that our service today is holy, it is sacred, and at the same time, it is fun, it is joyful, it is uplifting, it is healing. I declare that to be so. Yes, yes. And I know that each angel that has come together to put this service together, that each angel is blessing our service with their service. And I know that God is speaking through and as our own Reverend Bobby, as she comes forth and gives her message that moves and inspires each and every heart that is in this service, and as well as those watching online. Yes. I declare this to be so. This service is filled with the light of God, expressing as each and every one of us. I release this into the law, knowing that it is done, as we all say together, and so it is, and so it shall be. And I want to invite up our Board of Trustees, Susan Kallick.
Good afternoon, Namaste. It's that time of service where you get to step across the aisle and say hello to someone and introduce yourself. Remember, it's like musical chairs. When the music stops, you should be back in your seat. Thank you. And now, namaste. I invite you to join me in reading our mission statement. I learn practical science and mind tools and practice in a loving, connective, and vibrant community to reveal my power and change my life. And the way that we do that is we awaken to the truths of who we are. We realize these truths in our lives. We transform our lives, and then we repeat the process over and over again, each time going at a deeper level. Starting June 14th at 7 p.m. for 4 weeks, at 6:30 p.m. for 4 weeks, we have our next class in the Wisdom School, and it is all about prayer. I don't know about you, but I grew up just memorizing prayers and just saying them from rote. And when I came to Namaste, I was always in awe of the ministers and the practitioners and how the words just flowed from them. And it was so heartfelt. So I'm taking the class because I want to be able to pray like them. I want to feel comfortable. I want it to come from my heart instead of my head. I invite you to join me. There's a sign-up sheet that Carrie has that'll pass around. Class starts next Tuesday, June 14th, 6:30, and it's 4 Tuesdays in a row. July 10th, 2022 is the Pride Parade in Long Beach, and for the first time in a very long time, Namaste is going to participate, which means we're going to participate. So I invite you all to join us. As it gets closer, we'll have more information. Right now, we're planning on 2 vehicles being in the parade. So if you're walking and you need a break, you can jump on to one of the vehicles. We're hoping to have our musicians playing and just to be able to send out a good message. Oh, they're bringing the motorhome. Plenty of room in there. Maybe a meal or 2, I don't know. Every weekday morning at 7 a.m., you can call in on the prayer call or join by Zoom and get support, connection, and prayer by our wonderful practitioner course. And soon we'll have 2 new ones joining the call. And then the other thing that we have offering to support you is our grief support group, The Safe Place, every second Wednesday at 7 p.m. and the 4th Monday at 10 a.m. We created The Safe Place to support grief from life events, the changes they bring, and to find comfort in community. For all of these events, check our newsletter, check our website. The links for registration are there. Our gratitude this week goes out to Alicia Mason, who spoke last week, practitioner from Agape and a family member of Namaste, and also to Des for taking over the music last Sunday. Thank you. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Daniel Namaste. Daniel Nahmod. He is a New Thought musician who has been to Namaste in the past. He's a powerful singer. He is going to be the guest of the Circle on June 15th at 7 p.m. There'll be a music, message, and connection, and I really encourage you to join. He is a fabulous singer. And as you know, we believe in the law of circulation, and as such, we give 5% of what you give to Namaste to organizations, both local and national, to support those in need and those organizations that have beliefs similar to our own. For our tithe for the month of May, we donated to the Buffalo 514 survivors, a fund that is advertised or provided through the National Center for Victims of Crime. And now I turn it over to Conk.
Just want to remind everybody that we're going to enter into a deeper space here, and so at the end of the song, we'll just remain silent and set for a prayer. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release. From a world filled with chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God. I find myself. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release. From a world filled with chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments, and I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God. I find God. I find myself.
Namaste. My name is Jeff Schlicht, and I am a licensed practitioner with Namaste Center for Spiritual Living. I reside in Sedona, Arizona, so I am totally blessed to join you in this manner, and I thank everybody that supports me in this. Thank you. The topic of my body has been a very long process of unfoldment. And this conversation is a program that continues to be in progress, almost like a weekly series that's longer than you have ever watched in your entire life, one week after the other, with shifts like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. But over the years, and my continued anchoring into my spirituality, my script for myself has gotten kinder, softer, and even healthier. The subject that popped out for me today on today's subject of our bodies is our body is an expression of God. And in this conscious work of self and body, I am closer and closer to God. The word practice comes to mind for me when I hear these. And how do I practice this in my life with my body? We hear all about oneness. And that is God, and I am of that oneness. That is a principle. That is a truth. It's beautiful. We close our eyes and we think of oneness. But for myself, then I open my eyes and I'm in front of the mirror, and that just becomes all abstract. We live in a world of duality. Ernest Holmes would put it small r reality is this world of form and experience that we live in, but his capital R reality is that which I know of God. Both are the same because another principle is in God there is no separation. Now, throw this into the mix, and that is in God there is no form. My body is a form. That what I truly know as another principle, that back of my life, that there is an ethereal power and presence that imbues this form. In my personal spiritual work, my simplest question is, how do I get my head wrapped around the enormity that God is and the practical measures of my daily life? Use the principles I know in my absolute faith, and also step into the life that I experience in my relationship to my body. I think this is my life's work, and that is to understand my life and my life experience and the world that we have around us. Yet, how does this work with my understanding of God and how this all works together? Simply put, is how do I do this? I have a few basics, and I want to share with those with you now. Is there is a truth, and I am created as God created me to be. That is a fact. Now, I've also been given a gift of choice. This one gives me enough rope to hang myself, because the question then becomes, why am I making the choices I make regarding the actions with my body? Also then, I am the caretaker of my house. This is my house, my vessel as I move through life. Another one is how much do I let my ego run rampant with my actions towards my house or my body? And this one can really just run off, and that is, I need to fit in, I need to have a certain look, a certain size or weight. I need to meet other people's expectations. That's craziness. That's goodness. It can just be runoff from there. But then I get quiet. Maybe it's not quiet. Maybe I just get exhausted over the years of compliance, of chasing something I'm not. And then I need to ask the question of why. I choose then to be me. I rest in active listening, to know who I am and step into the care and love of self for what is the best for me. I am the individualized expression of God, and today I let all social measures and conformity fall away to the best ability I can. If you'll just close your eyes for a minute, rest into your seats. I want to share a couple affirmations I have for myself in regards to this subject. The love I know of God and share with others, so willing to give to others. I recognize my wholeness. Then in this recognition of self, I know my worthiness to accept who I am and what is right for me as my highest good and all the activity I have for my body. And another one is, today I listen. I listen actively to all that is around me, within me, and my body, letting my ego rest and quiet its voice in order for that still small voice that is God to become heard, become greater within my life, in my relationship to my body. And as we come back all together, I just wish you the best. Beautiful service. And thank you so much for letting me to be a part of it. Namaste.
Sometimes I shave my legs and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I comb my hair and sometimes I won't. Depend on the wind blows and might even paint my toes. It really just depends on whatever feels good in my soul. I'm not the average girl from your video. I ain't built like a supermodel, but I learned to love myself unconditionally because I am a queen. I'm not the average girl from your video. My worth is not determined by the price of my clothes. No matter what I'm wearing, I will always be the India-Arie. When I look into the mirror and the only one there is me. Every freckle on my face is where it's supposed to be. And I know my creator didn't make no mistakes on me. My feet, my thighs, my lips, my eyes, I'm loving what I see, yeah. I'm not the average girl from your video. I ain't built like a supermodel, but I learned to love myself unconditionally because I am a queen. I'm not the average girl from your video. My worth is not determined by the price of my clothes. No matter what I'm wearing, I will always be India-Arie. India-Arie. The India-Arie. Am I less of a lady if I don't wear pantyhose? My mama said a lady ain't what she wears, but what she knows. But I've drawn the conclusion it's all an illusion. Confusion's the name of the game. A misconception, a vast deception. Well, something's got to change. Don't be offended, this is all my opinion. Ain't nothing that I'm saying is law. This is a true confession of a life learned lesson I was sent here to share with y'all. So get in where you fit in, go on and shine, yeah, clear your mind, cause now's the time. Put your salt on the shelf, go on and love, cause everything gonna be alright. I'm not the average girl from your video. My worth is not determined by the price of my clothes. No matter what I'm wearing, I will always be the India-Arie. The India-Arie. The India-Arie. The India-Arie. That's me, India-Arie.
I just love that song. And Kong, you didn't shave your legs this morning? You didn't shave your legs this morning? I did, actually. That's the weird part. That's the weird part. You gotta love that, right? What about this body? I have this love-hate relationship for about 59 and a half years. It's more love now than it is that hate part. This entire month, we're going to be exploring how to live everyday wonder through the magnificent and magical creation that is our body. This body that I have, this vehicle that I think ends kind of at the sort of where my skin is, right? It's an expression of God, and by loving it and learning about it, that's the key. Terry, you're laughing. By loving it, learning about it, listening to it, we come closer and closer to recognizing the divine that is us. So I'm just going to ask this question. You can raise your hand. I won't force you on this one. How many of you are so comfortable in this body of yours? Lots of giggles. Oh, thank you, Bill. I can tell. Yeah, that's a hard one to answer. It's probably like sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. This morning, maybe. You know, when I got dressed, oh my goodness, that pandemic 10 or whatever they call it that I get to carry around. I mean, this body has been an interesting vehicle and an interesting teacher, and how comfortable I am with it. I noticed on a global front, there's a lot going on around body. The freedom of bodies to be authentic in who they are. We have gun rights and safety. Guns more important than bodies and the safety of those bodies. Women's rights, reproduction, we don't own it. We need to get there. Expression and rights of people of color, to be able to speak up and talk and express their story rather than the ignoring and the whitewashing of history. LGBTQ rights, to be able to express yourself in the simplest of ways. I want to say gay in school. I want to just say it. And folks standing up and saying that's not right. This body continues to be that authentic representation. And religious trauma, and ignoring how religion has presented itself as a power over, rather than what it should be, which is a power of people, to be that divine and authentic expression of who each one of us are. So what is this body of effect? If you could put up that first slide, my friend. The body is always an effect. It is never a cause. Body expresses intelligence. Its apparent intelligence being lent by the consciousness that permeates it. The body is consciousness. It's an interesting quote of Ernest Holmes, because this body is an effect of not just this life, but I'm going to propose to you something that may or may not make you feel better. I always hope it does. Mark Wolin is this researcher, and he wrote this book called It Didn't Start With You, and How Inherited Family Trauma Shapes Who We Are and How to End the Cycle. You would imagine that you would show up in this body, and by the way, just being born is pretty much a miracle. In our country, child mortality rates are the highest in the African American community. Why? Because the things that we take for granted in just being born is that the right care is present, the right support is present, that education is present everywhere, and that there's equal access to health care. But what's interesting too is when you just go on the fact that it's just a miracle that we came out and we're walking and talking and doing what we do. Birth is a miracle. I think sometimes we take it for granted. Maybe it's been a while since I was born, so I forget. I know in my own life that what Mark Wolin talks about is it didn't start with you, how inherited family trauma shapes who we are, is it isn't just the trauma that we go through in this life. And I'm going to offer up to you some things to consider. Could you put that next slide up, Matt? Tragedies, emerging trends in psychotherapy are now beginning to point beyond the traumas of the individual to include traumatic events in the family and social history as a part of the whole picture. Now, when we talk about trauma in families, we're not even talking about traumas in societies and cultures that over generation happen, and what that happens to us, and how that trauma is in our bodies as our DNA. And the studies are showing that tragedies varying in type and intensity, such as abandonment, suicide, war, early death of a child, parent, sibling, a pandemic, can send shockwaves of distress cascading from one generation to the next. See, the truth about you and I is that we are children of God. That's the truth. We did not come here without getting to or being forced in some ways to accept and deal with trauma. It's part of the journey. To say just the simplest expression of change your thinking, change your life isn't exactly that simple. It just isn't that simple. It's why we come into these rooms so we can explore and look at, as I mentioned, the very first thing I said, which was learning about my body. It is up to me to learn about this body and what I'm traveling with. It's not always easy to learn about my body because I don't always know what my parents completely went through. I have some suspicions of what they might have walked through because of the things that I walked through with them as a child. And it must have been traumatic because I know that trauma is inherited often, and that inheritance happens where the body starts to express that trauma, and children who are in that trauma of that family trauma, in essence, inherit it not just in the expression in our families, but we inherit it at birth. It's in our DNA, and that's what they're finding. But we are children of God, and God has expressed itself on earth individually as you. And each one of us have a journey and a story and a whole series of things that we carry. And I know that we carry something because how many of you feel anger at times? Frustration, sadness, anxiety. It's my fave. We also feel joy and abundance and a host of other things. But sometimes what brings us in this room is not those things. What brings us in that room is the stories that we're trying to work through. That's why we come in here. Otherwise, why would we need community? But I don't know anybody that doesn't need a community to be loved. In the Science of Mind book, Ernest says, disturbances produce physical reactions in the body. If we are to be well, our inner body and outer body are to be in alignment. He also says this, which I think is really interesting. Ernest said, time is a sequence of events in unitary wholeness. I was thinking about that. Time is a sequence of events in a unitary wholeness. That anything you walk through, I walk through too. It doesn't even matter if the experience is mine, because if we're really all one, how can we not be affected by everything? How can I not be affected by your trauma? How can I not be affected if the experience isn't even mine? So when I know some years ago when Janine and I were living in South Orange County, the largest church, in fact, we used to see it down the hill, was Saddleback Church. Thousands of people go to that church. And I was asked often, well, why don't you go to that church? And I said, because we're not welcome there. Now, I've said this before, but the thing is, even if it's not my experience, I should be conscious, more conscious, that others are excluded from certain cultures. One of the things that's really disturbing to me is that Sunday is the most segregated day of the week. Church is the most segregated culture in the country. It is where spiritual community is divided by race on Sunday for 24 hours. Just because I don't know the experience of another doesn't mean that I shouldn't. And every experience that I participate in my unconsciousness is experienced in somebody else's body, and in turn is experienced in mine. Pull up the next quote, Matt. I had to look and see where I was. I'm going to tell you a story. This comes out of Mark Wolin's book, It Didn't Start With You, How Inherited Family Trauma Shapes Who We Are. There's a story where he's counseling, he's a psychotherapist a psychiatrist, and he's counseling Jesse, who was an athlete and a straight-A student. When in college, Jesse started to experience insomnia, and it led to depression and despair over time. He dropped out of college, and he had to forfeit his college scholarship for baseball. He tried 3 doctors, 2 psychologists, a sleep clinic, and a naturopathic physician. None helped. When Dr. Wolin met with him, they talked about what may have triggered this insomnia that just came out of the blue. He said, sleep always came easy to me prior to this experience of waking up at 3 a.m. It started and it didn't stop. It started at 19. He was waking up at 3:30 every night, and this is what was interesting. He was shivering, he was freezing, he was unable to get warm. He could not understand why this experience was happening to him. He started to fear not waking up. He knew this wasn't logical, but the fear was there anyway, and he was unable to put an end to it. So the doctor said, is there anything in your family history that's possibly out there that might have contributed to this? And he said, you know, his mother told him of a story of his father's older brother who froze to death in a Northwest Territory of Canada while checking the power lines for the power company. His uncle succumbed to hypothermia and was found face down in the snow, and the family never spoke about it again. Scientists are now able to identify biological markers, evidence that trauma can and does pass down from one generation to another. We carry things from our past, not just our past, but our family's past, and sometimes those things show up, and you wonder, why is this happening? It's not like something happened to me. This graphic here, which is a little fuzzy because of the sun, what is present in our bodies goes back to our grandmothers. My mother's eggs, while she was in the body of my grandmother, there were precursor cells of the egg that was developed while she was in vitro. Everything that she was developed in that womb, while in the experience of my grandmother. My grandmother was schizophrenic. So imagine what my mom was carrying forward in her own experience through birth. Once my mother's egg cells were formed in my grandmother, the cell line stopped dividing. Everything was complete. In a sense of what she was carrying in the womb and passing on to her children, she got from her mother, and I got from mom and from grandma. And father's line is similar. He brings the same biological environment that was present for his mother, my grandmother. His genetics continued to evolve over his lifetime, which means he carried his mother's trauma, and then passed that trauma on to his children. Now, that might seem, well, goodness gracious, what do I do? The point of this, it's not enough to know that what we think about, we bring about. There's many factors that affect this body. This body that I've traveled with, that I've worked to reconcile all of what's in my mind that says somehow this body is not enough, that my hair isn't thick enough. I don't believe that, but I'm just going to say that because there was one morning this week I thought that, and I thought, where did that come from? I remember being a young person and I thought I was too tall. I remember having an experience where the first time that I had a female partner, which was scary as hell, by the way, I remember not talking about what I was going through, and I remember being so afraid that people would find out how scared I was just to be in this body, that this body was not my friend. And over the years, thankfully, I've been able to reconcile a lot of the fact that this body is indeed mine. It has treated me quite well, as long as I treat it well. And I look at things in my life and I go, how can I uncover things that are happening? I struggle with anxiety. And I'm finding that that anxiety is definitely part of being a perfectionist, but there's something else in there. So I know there's more to the story than just what I carry. And in some respects, that gives me some peace Because there are times I wonder, where did I get that? And I may not have a childhood experience to support it, but my mom might, and my dad might. And then I get to bring some compassion to the story and understand that we're all healing a lot of the same things. We're all healing racial trauma. We've all been part of it. It is handed down generation after generation. And for us to heal it is to participate in reconciling that. We're all healing from religious trauma. If you're female, you're healing from religious trauma. If you're a person of color, you're healing from religious trauma. If you've walked in these doors from another faith, you've probably and are healing from a religious trauma. We're all healing from some kind of family trauma, whether it's the trauma we experienced as children or we were witness to that of others. Gender trauma, sexual trauma, the pandemic, our young people. I know for our daughter who spent 2 years in her room for school, there's a lot of compassion we have for her and what that may mean in her life. Just as what happened 100 years ago for those with the Spanish flu, here we are again. We have an opportunity not just to understand our past and potentially the past of family members before us, but there's an invitation of, what can I do with this body to continue to heal that which I travel with? I think since I saw you last, I attended a family event, and I had the experience in that event of coming to understand the peace that I've made with my family history. I tell you, over the years, I thought, when is it going to be? This was my question even last year. When am I going to feel comfortable in this experience with my family? And I realized that's not really the right question, as I've understood some of what my family's walked through. The question for me is, can I have compassion for their own stories, right? Can I show up and not necessarily try to change anyone, no matter what I think they should be doing? We are invited to make peace with our family history. If there's someone in your history that you have angst over, resentment, anger, it's time. It's time to make peace with that so that we can heal. Because every time I heal, you're experiencing the same healing that I am. If we're all one, I can heal things going forwards and backwards. For there is no time, and that is the unitary principle of time. The thing that's important is we don't deny the abuse or any event that's happened in our life. We don't have to do that. We transcend it. We become the heroes of those stories. We rise to the truth of who we are and how we have risen and traveled with it and through it. All life experience has a potent effect on our healing life right now. Here's a suggestion I have for you. You don't have to raise your hand. How many of you have someone in your family that you would like to forgive? Someone in your family or someone in your life to which you don't have, I would say, the most positive feelings towards? Or you're just experiencing a disruption in that relationship. When my mother died, this is what I did. Besides seeking out all types of healing, I had a picture every morning of my mom out. She was not my favorite person back then. She is one of my favorite people today. She didn't change. I lit a candle every day for 1 year, and I held a prayer of being able to see this woman that was my greatest teacher, to see the truth of her. And over the course of that year, I spoke to her about my life. I spoke to her about how I felt. I breathed in love of who I had become, and I breathed out anything that's time has come to let go. I set boundaries with respect to other family members about what I could and couldn't do, and I did not try to change them and continue to hold them in the highest as I walk through with them a very interesting and challenging journey. We have a journey with our families. We have a journey in our communities. We have a journey in our nation. We have a journey on this planet. Ernest said this: "Some towns are bustling with life and action while others seem dead." What he was trying to explain is something we call race consciousness. And race consciousness is the generalization that happens in cultures, where one culture thinks they're better than another culture, or one culture just judges another culture, or any time that we judge anybody in a general way. He says some are filled with a spirit of culture while others are filled with a spirit of commerce. This is the result of the mentalities of those who live in such places. Just as a city has its atmosphere, so does an entire nation. The combined thought of those who inhabit a nation creates a national consciousness, which we speak of as the psychology of that people. We have that same experience that's happening right now in our nation. The things I mentioned to you earlier, we have an opportunity to step in and do things a little bit different. It cannot and will not stop with prayer. We need to learn about ourselves and what we bring into this experience, what we bring that needs to be healed. And every time we look at something that needs to be healed, we all have it. There's no one in this room, myself including, that don't have something that if I healed it would not make the world a better place. We all have that. Can you put up that last slide, Matt? Can you see that? Okay. So in closing, let us speak this aloud. Now, as you're thinking about this, and let me just read this before you say it. I am here in this body and I am home. That's a powerful statement. I am here in my life, I am alive, and I am awake. So just untwist, unwind, uncross. I'm just going to have you look over there at Terry Anderson, who loves to receive. See that right there? That's because he just knows something good's coming. Right, Terry? And I'm not missing out on it. Whatever that looks like for you, let us do this together. I am here in this body and I am home. I am here in my life, I am alive, I am awake. Again. I am here in this body and I am home. Stop. Pay attention to how that feels. I am here in my life, I am alive, I am awake. How does that feel? Let's do it again. I am here in this body and I am home. Do you feel that? Do you feel that? I am here in my life, I am alive, I am awake. So I'm going to close with prayer, and I'm going to ask if there's anyone in the room that filled out a prayer card and would like that included in today's prayer. Just hold your prayer card up if you filled it out. You guys are making it too easy for me. So if you didn't fill out a prayer card, what would be the prayer you would like spoken? Susan, you got a pen? We'll pray on that too. Wenda. Okay. I can handle it. Oneness, unity. Is there someone in your life you'd like to see different? You. Is there someone else you'd like to see other than you too? What would you like to see? Joy. You would like to see joy as that other person. Okay. Compassion for that other person. Do you want to pass your finals? We'll hold you in prayer if you'd like. Peace. Got the health. Craig. Wholehearted embracement. Jackie. Knowing what mine is to be in this community. Is there something for your own life you'd like to feel? Oh, and to do. Could you add that on there, Susan? Because there's the prayer and then there's the doing, right? Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. Last chance. Oh, she added a few since she has a pencil. The power of the pen. And the board president. So, Rev Veronica's going to help me here.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
And so, Rev Veronica, I'll start it, and then you take the first one, and then I'll take that one, and then
Okay.
so on and so forth. So we don't lose our place. Will you just point to which one you're doing? And I'll point to the one I'm doing. I could totally get lost on that list.
We got this.
We got this. So just, can I have a little piano in that background? Just some very mellow. If I had a piano player. I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray on that.
So open your hearts.
So knowing that there is oneness, there is only God. There is this power and presence that is infinite. It is the container, it is the energy of all things. It is love. Oh, feel that. It is love. It is home. It is joy. It is all things, and it isn't just human. All things. It's every event and situation that shows up. There's always God in it all. I am one with it. I know Rev Veronica's one with it. And everyone in this room is one with it. And I anchor in that.
And I do declare from this place of oneness, from this place of wholeness, that anything that rests upon my heart that is in need of forgiveness, of self thoughts against self, actions, mistakes, that all are released into the nothingness from where they came, leaving only God, leaving only love, leaving only self-love.
I know that not only am I one, but all is one. And that as I anchor in that right here and right now, I know that this oneness is the home for all. There is no exclusion of this, for it includes unity. Both act as companions on this journey that encompass all things. For what I feel, I know is felt in the universe, and that is true for all. So I hold that prayer of oneness and unity.
Yes. And it is from this place of knowing that God is peace. I declare this to be so. I feel it, I experience it, I know it. And as I and as we are one with God, this peace exists as our life. Feel it, know it, expressing as each and every one of us right here and right now is the peace of God in all situations and in all circumstances.
And I know that joy is always present. Joy is not happiness. Joy is a sense of connection and peace. And joy is the benefit and the gift as all.
Yes. And knowing that even though we may not understand that which is going on in this world, that which is going on in my immediate life, I know that my brother and sister and I are one, and it is from that place that I have compassion for others, compassion for myself, knowing that I don't have to understand, that the love in my heart for the suffering that is going on in this world, that's what I need to know, is the compassion that I have for myself and others is expressing through me right now in this moment as my heart softens and opens to that which I do not understand.
And I know that health is always present. That whatever is happening in my body or the body of another, it is that body communicating, that body speaking, whatever it is within a message of divine love. And so whatever is speaking in my body right now that seems to be out of alignment, I just listen. I listen for its truth. I listen for its guidance. And I listen. And I have compassion for it and hold it in love.
And knowing that that which I seek for outside of myself, I seek from within. So as I am seeking wholehearted embracing of self, embracing of who I am right now in this moment with all of my beingness, knowing that that is where I come from, that is who I am being, the loving embracement of myself as is.
And as knowing what is mine to be and do, Spirit whispers most often how. How am I to be? How am I to do? And I show up. I show up. I pray. I move my feet. I ask questions. I speak whatever it is, my truth, with compassion and love and respect. And I anchor into that how as what is mine to be and do.
Yes, yes. And sometimes the mystery of it all, we seek understanding. And sometimes the mystery of it all, there is no understanding. But to understand that God is everywhere present in its entirety and within myself, therein lies understanding.
And so we just anchor this prayer right here and right now, and we bless this beloved community. We bless its ministers, its practitioners, its community members, folks that walk in this door looking for whatever it is, to speak to them as the love and truth of who they are. We bless this music team, our sound folks. We bless our present and past board members. We bless our service teams. We bless all that step in. We bless Sherry as she carries an amazing work as she shakes her head over there. I want you all to look over there shaking her head because it's true. She carries an instantaneous love for this community, and we bless her and thank her for that. We bless all as they walk this path.
Yes, yes, blessed indeed. It is all good because it's all God. Oof, and it is all good because it is all God. And we just know this and declare this to be so as we have spoken our word into the law that only knows to say yes. As I declare that each and every one of us are open and ready to receive this prayer that has been declared, surrendering to the yes of God. As we release this, letting it go, as we say together, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you for coming today. Every first Sunday, we include the prayers of our community into the service, so we thank you for doing that. Thank you, Rev. Veronica, for joining me.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Kong, let's do this.
Disorder, my stuff's not in order. I'm overweight, I'm always late. I got one too many things to say. I rock mom jeans, cat earrings, extrapolate my feelings. My family's dysfunctional, but we have a good time killing each other. They tell us from the time we're young to hide the things that we don't like about ourselves, inside ourselves. I know I'm not the only one who spent so long attempting to be someone else. Well, I'm over it. I don't care if the world knows what my secrets are. Secrets are. I don't care if the world knows what my secrets are. Secrets are. So what? So what? So what? So I can't think straight. I'm so gay. Sometimes I cry a whole day. I care a lot. Use an analog clock, and I never know when to stop. I'm passive, aggressive, scared of the dark and the dentist. I love my butt and I won't shut up, and I never really grew up. They tell us from the time we're young to hide the things that we don't like about ourselves, inside ourselves. I know I'm not the only one who spent so long attempting to be someone else. Well, I'm over it. I don't care if the world knows what my secrets are. Secrets are. I don't care if the world knows what my secrets are. Secrets are. So what? I don't care if the world knows what my secrets are. Secrets are. I don't care if the world knows what my secrets are. Secrets are. So what? 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 Thank you.
Again, I love what you
Oh, sorry.
You know I only have love for you.
What?
Both you and Des. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you, thank you. I love what our music team brings, don't you? Wow. And if you don't know that song, that's Mary Lambert, and that song just makes me giggle. Just makes me giggle. Love her, love her. And India Ari was part of our music service today, so very grateful. So it's the time of our conscious giving. There are options to give to Namaste, our tithes and giving. We use Give Plus, PayPal, and there is a basket in the center of the room. I'm just so grateful. I am so grateful to get to participate and be here today. I'm grateful to get to do this. I'm grateful for how this is my favorite place to be, right up here with you. And for that gratitude, I'm just going to ask that you take that gift that you give to Namaste. It's not just to Namaste. As we anchor in that gift, know that what we do, we extend ourselves beyond this community. We extend ourselves to other spiritual communities with our hearts. We extend ourselves knowing that how we don't travel alone, we travel together. And that we do this work for ourselves, but even though we may not be conscious, we do the work of ourselves for everyone. And we look around to see who needs that little bit of lift, that little bit of extra love, and we give that. And that is our treasure, and our talents, and our time. So say this affirmation. We have a new one, so I'm going to try this out today. Can you see it? Not really. That is such a bummer. So you're going to repeat after me. How about that? We give today as a community rich and intentional. In creating a world that supports the peace. That is who we are, and peace for all who enter here. As we give, we anchor in that peace in our prayers. Way to go. Our actions at home. I see some of you out there. Our daily practices. And how we show up in the world. Just forget the and. That was, I just thought maybe I'd add something, but I didn't. We affirm this is true. And so it is. Okay, so as we close service, thanks for being a little patient today. We give prayer that takes us beyond our typical service time. So let me just thank a few folks before we go on, and then we'll do our benediction and close. So I want to thank Kong and Des for showing up like they do. I know whatever song I give Kong, he's going to sing it. I love that about you. And thank you, Des, for who you are and for what you did last week. Thank you for that. And Matt over here doing our sound. Jeff Schlick from Sedona. Terry, thanks for jumping in and setting up the equipment. Susan, our Board of Trustee today. Janine Cochran, Carrie Blitzer. Who else was on the welcome team? I said Carrie. Oh, okay. Carrie times 2? So with that, let us do our benediction. Now, you can't see that, but you must know it, right? Do you know it? Kind of know it? Terry's over here, I'm not even sure. Okay. So I'm going to ask the question, which may inspire you to remember what the first line is. What's happening right now? Something wonderful is happening through me right now. All right. And if it's happening through you, stand, if you are able. What's this thing called? Is it just in some people and not others? And? And it isn't just me. Hold on. Berkeley wants to know what's going on. So what am I going to do with it? What am I going to do with life? Wait, do you? Wait, do you accept it? That was the crummiest yes I've ever heard. Do you accept life? What else? And then what do you do with it? Do I just share it how I want to? And? Now hold on. I want you to wiggle your toes in your shoes or flip-flops or whatever you happen to be wearing today. Or if you've taken them off, even better. And I want you to wiggle those toes, and I want you to just feel a sense of gratitude that starts with those toes. Oh, Terry's taking his shoes off already. And I want you to allow that gratitude to move up your legs, your calves, into your thighs, into your torso. Are you feeling it? As Sherry does, shake it around a little bit. Get it moving. And as that's reaching up and it's about to explode through the top of your head, what are you gonna say?
One, two. I don't. 1, 2, 3. When the walls start tumbling down, I choose joy. I choose joy. When the world stops spinning round, I choose joy. When my heart won't seem to move, when my music's lost its groove, when I had too much to prove, I choose joy. When hate is all that I see, I choose joy. I choose joy. When the fear won't let me be, I choose joy. When betrayal and lies hide the light from my eyes, I look up to the skies and I choose joy. I choose joy. Joy, 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 joy. I choose joy. 1, 2, 3. When the walls start tumbling down, I choose joy. I choose joy. When the world stops spinning round, I choose joy. Boy, seem to move when the music's lost its groove. When I had too much to prove, I choose joy. Joy, 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 joy. I choose joy.
Thank you, Namaste. Have a great week.